Tito the Chihuahua, my hero.
Hey, man, if this is torture, chain me to the wall.
Living in America, but I mean, it's just a nightmare in the imagination of the left. You know, yesterday I played this clip of an abortion radical saying that having a baby is doing violence to the mother's body. So we have to commit violence against it. We have to kill it. That's why abortion is justifiable. It's obviously kind of a kook, but kind of a kook. But it sums up the left's attitude, doesn't it? That this terrible stuff is happening. They're so oppressed, so they're justifying oppressing others. They're justified in shouting you down on campus because your speech is violence. It's all in their imagination, but it justifies the terrible things they're doing. You know, we talked about that New York Times piece yesterday about silencing people on YouTube because they're radicalizing people. And they found a guy who was so radicalized, he actually dated a religious woman. That's how radicalized he was. I mean, that was really what it was. He never bought into the crazy theories about white supremacy, never went into any of that, but he dated an evangelical Christian. And that was what made them radical. And that's why we should knock all these people off YouTube and deplatform them. It's all about the fact that they own the media. They own the entertainment media and they own the news media. And then the Democrats send out their talking points and those become the news and then history. You know, there's a show on Netflix right now called When They See Us about something that I remember. I was in New York when this happened, the Wilding incident, where a woman was just a Central Park jogger, was beaten and raped almost to the point of death. Other people were beaten and beaten also. It was about 30 rioters went through Central Park, and 5 guys were sent away for it. And then later on, somebody, this guy in prison, a psychopath, said, no, it was I who did the raping, and they found out his DNA did match up. And so these guys were theoretically exonerated. The thing is, they weren't exonerated for all the things that they were charged with. They were charged with, you know, riot and assault and all these things, and they were not exonerated for that, but they were, and they made a big killing off it, and they reformed their lives, it looks like. You know, so they're doing this thing, When They See Us, in which Linda Fairstein, who writes a piece about it in the Wall Street Journal today, very well-respected prosecutor, also a fairly good mystery novelist, she wrote a piece saying, look, these guys confessed. They made a statement. They have parts in this Netflix show about Linda Fairstein as a bigot, which she never was, as kind of planning how to set these guys up, which she never did, leaving them in their cells, not allowing them to go to the bathroom, which, as she says, if that had really happened in any good pretrial hearing, they would have brought that up in order to get their statements thrown out of court. But in fact, they said there were confessions, there were blood stains, there was corroborating testimony, there was dirt on their clothes. One of them testified, made the statement that he had simulated sex on this poor woman's body. And in fact, they found semen in his underwear, which would corroborate that. But they have this powerful fantasy making machine, so that now, as someone once said, that this is all people will remember. People will watch this and they will think this is reality, especially the left that just eats this stuff. They read the New York Times every day and they think that's the news instead of hate speech about Donald Trump.